Hey, Gunrunner 6174 here again. Today I'm going to be talking about the M1 Garand. Not necessarily going over the rifle. I might hit some little love points with it a little bit. But more importantly, I'm going to talk about one of the issues I've had with this rifle. I've had it now for about 6 to 9 months. This was my #1 dream rifle. If you're a gun guy and if you've been that way since you're a kid, you got a list of guns that you've always been interested in, and you have a sequential list of rifles that you want to have, and this has always been on my top, and then below that would be an M1A and a 1903 Springfield, but this was at the top. I was fortunate to be able to trade into this rifle. It's a CMP. It's an H&R receiver. The trigger assembly, trigger housing, and everything like that's H&R. Barrels H&R. It's got a Springfield op rod, Springfield bolt. I'm not an M1 Garand aficionado. There's people out there that are. I'm not. I just enjoy shooting it. I don't really care what's inside. I prefer it to not be aftermarket Chinese made parts. I would like the USGI parts, but as long as they don't break, I'm happy. But this is a beautiful gun. But if the gun doesn't work, it loses interest with the shooter, and I had some issues with this gun when I first got it. Some of the issues that I had, or really the only issue that I had that made me lose a little bit of interest and confidence in the rifle is I was having a stoppage, or a failure to feed is a better way to put it, on the 7th round. There's 8 rounds in an M-block clip, so the second to last round, I continued to have a stoppage. Basically where the round was going to feed, and then on the inside, let me see if I can find the round. It doesn't really matter. All right, so then on the inside of the barrel, the round tip was basically impacting along the outside of the wall here on the left side of the barrel and just sticking there. I would basically take some pressure off the bolt, feed the round into the chamber, and then let the bolt home, and then you're back in the game. But it's annoying. I mean, having a rifle that is the greatest battle implement ever devised with the legacy, and then you start to wonder if it really, I mean, it could be your individual rifle, but you start to wonder, hey, is this all hype? Well, it does live up to its hype. I did some research. I was always under the understanding that when you load an in-block clip, that you're supposed to grab one here. Should have had it out. That you're supposed to load it with the top round here to the right, because they're staggered. It's kind of like a double stack magazine. So my understanding is that the top round was always supposed to be to the right, like this one here. I did some research, and I guess originally the manual, they figured this out very early on, that loading the top round to the right, because it makes it easier to load when you're shoving it in, especially if you're right-handed. You push on it and your thumb rests on that round, so it just makes it easier to load. But they figured out very early that creates the issue that I was having. So they loaded the top round to the left, and that went away. And they also, I don't know what truth it is, again, internet stuff, whatever, but they also kind of redesigned the M-block clip as well. And it was supposed to stop that and allow you to load whatever way you wanted to load, but that wasn't the case for me. I read that you can check your op rod spring. I did that, and mine measured out as well within its limitations, as if it was a new spring, which it came from the CMP, and it was a new spring. And then the other suggestion was your magazine follower, make sure that's still operational, and mine was, and lubrication, and also the biggest thing was people going on about the USGI M-block clips. The ones that I'm using right now are the AEC3. these are supposed to be government contract specs, and everybody else said these were pretty solid. The original USCI ones are better, but these are kind of like the next best thing. So I didn't think this was the issue. Some people said, hey, stretch them out a little bit, whatever. But I wanted to do a test. So the first thing I was going to try is loading the top round to the left. I did that, no issues. I shot 4 M-block clips today out of this rifle, and I didn't have a single issue. So if you're having that issue, I've never seen a video about it before. When I was doing the research, I looked for a video. I saw a guy who had the problem, but was not able to troubleshoot and fix the problem. I'm not saying that my fix is going to be your fix. Yours could be a lubrication issue. It could be an M-block issue. It could be a worn or faulty component in your rifle. It could be a op rod spring. But if it's the 7th round stoppage failure to feed issue, and it worked for mine, I would imagine that it should work for yours as well. So if you're having that issue, I hope that this helps you out. I hope this helps give you the confidence back in your rifle, because I was getting to a point where, this was going to be a gun-safe gun that never went back to the range because it just wasn't fun to shoot. Went out today, shot it. I fell back in love with my M1 Garand. I need to start reloading because it shoots well. I'll show you some of the groups from today. Let's see if I can find one. So this top target right here was a 4-round group at 50 yards, so that's not too bad. I mean, maybe you could call this a flyer, but you got 3 rounds right here, definitely within an inch. And then you got that flyer. If you count that one, you're looking at like a 2 1/4 inch group, something of the sort. And then this is about typical. The top of the target is from the Chileno Mauser and everything like that, but this is about typical for me. You've got an impact here, 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 and then 2 right here. I tell people, or I would consider my M1 Garand about a 4-inch gun right now. Again, I don't reload. I'm shooting the American Eagle. M1 Garand is specific because the Garand shoots a little bit of a lower pressure cartridge than modern cartridges are. You can shoot modern cartridges, but you have to change out your gas port and do some other things. But I really wasn't interested in doing that. I just buy the M1 Garand stuff. The Federal American Eagle is kind of expensive. It's like 26 bucks a box of 20, but I recently discovered PPU, and there's also another brand of ammo that you can buy a box of 20 for like 18 bucks. So I'm going to start doing that. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's not as good. So I could very well buy that ammo, and it shoots well. I mean, today I feel like the 7mm ammo just worked. It just worked in my Chileno Mauser. It was a great competition. It shot like a match grade round, and I don't think the 6.5 PPU for my Swedish Mauser really did it a lot of justice. So I'm going to change around, maybe get a little bit of a better group, and here in the next year or so I plan to start reloading and maybe work up a load and see what the rifle is capable of, not necessarily the round. So again, 7th round stoppage, failure to feed. Load your top round on your M-block clip, not like this one, but load it for the top round to be to the left, and that should fix your problem. Gun Runner 6174, I'm out.